Hi there, Midland, Texas. Hey, I'm gonna do a little short video tonight. I'm gonna show you something I'm not sure everybody knows, and I think I'll name it "Surfing Timelines." And it's real good if you're wanting to go back into history, and Facebook, the way it's laid out, it's almost like a journal. If the settings are right and your mine are wide open, so anybody can do this to my Facebook and most people's too. Okay, so when I'm gonna scroll down, I'm on a desktop computer and I'm on my timeline on my homepage, and I'm gonna scroll down. And did you see that bar pop up? Okay, up here it says Buddy Wayne Webb timeline 2019. Okay, I'm gonna show you. So I click on that, and then I can change it to the date. Okay, and then and then I'm gonna click here all post, and I'm gonna change it to December. Okay, and I'm gonna show you here the post are December 15th, whatever. I'm gonna scroll down. That's December 30th. And as I go back, so you can see it's almost like a history, okay, of what was on my timeline. Okay, and what I'm going to scroll down here, and I'm going to skip ahead because I've already got it here. I'm going to go down to December 13th, 2014. I posted a story on this day called Rape and Murder, and I'm going to read that story to you. And it says, before I realized people were breaking into my Midland, Texas home, I was dating this woman who told me these stories, which I believe to be true. She tells me that these two older men had approached her and told her that she was going to work the week of the 2010 oil show as in prostitution. I don't believe that she felt like she had a choice. And I remember very clearly her leaving my house the night before this week started. She had a look of terror on her face that I'll never forget. I think that she knew what was going to happen. Okay, I heard about prostitution going on during the oil show all of my life. I remember reading a story about prostitutes flying in from all over the country to work this week. I would guess that oil companies involved in this wouldn't want to make it public, and I suppose there is some police corruption. Where does this happen at? Where are these parties? After we get off work, she would come by my home. This was our habit. She would then leave, and I would talk to her on the phone while she drove to Odessa. But during this week, she would leave, and about 5 minutes later, she would get off the phone. I was guessing that her destination during the oil show week was somewhere close to my home. And anybody follow me recently, I really believe she drove around to the Home Depot parking lot and parked there, which is 5 minutes away. Anyway, we would talk on the phone each evening until bedtime, as well as talk on Facebook. I believe there was other women there doing the same thing. I was secretly recording these calls, but I think she knew it. She was required to log in, so I believe that the internet was being used for scheduling. At 11 p.m., she would have to take her pill, which would make her sleepy, and we would get off the phone around midnight. My understanding is that she would fall asleep and then be woken up by men a little while later. Okay. Well, remember, this is forced prostitution. One morning, I heard her ask this other woman, what time did you get home last night? And the answer was about 3 a.m. There was other people there for sure. On another day, this safety guy from another company looked at her and said, yeah, I got mine this morning. I was standing there while she cowered in shame. Okay. And this was, I was working DCP midstream on Clandestine Building 10. And the woman that asked her at the time was a contract landman or right-of-way agent for our company. And I was sure that she was there at that same party, and which is going to be very important. And the safety guy worked in another company in the building, and I'm trying to think what his name was, Carl. And anyway, she would come to my home in the morning for a cup of coffee before work, looking really tired. On the second or third day, there was a story in the news about a person being hit by a train, and she was really interested in the story. She then told me this story about this girl who didn't want to prostitute, and that girl didn't wake up. My understanding is these sex slavers murdered this girl via forced overdose. A few weeks later, on my last day to talk to this girlfriend, I was trying to get her to go with me to the police department to report this murder, which she and these others were a witness to, but she didn't want to go and indicated that there were some upper-level police involved. I had to work late this day, and when I got off work, I noticed I had a voicemail on my company phone, and that number was 432-209-6494, in case, legitimate police want to check the records. It was from a police officer, and I called him back. This guy tells me that I better not contact her again on charges or charges were going to be filed against me. This call record could be found in my company's cell phone call record. So basically, just for verification. A few days later, obviously the cop that called me didn't want, was covering up the murder of that girl at the party. Okay. A few days later, I went to the police department myself to report this, even though I was a third party. I walked in the door and I got the feeling that the officer at the desk knew who I was. How could that be? I was relatively new to Midland and a law-abiding citizen. I expected to sit down with the police officer and be able to tell my story, but that's not what happened. I was given a phone number to call and sent out the door. I called this number and I left my name and number twice, very clearly, like I always do. I never received a call back. This can also be found in my company's cell phone records. Okay. Or company call records. A few months later, I was telling another unnamed female this story, and she told me that the kind of pill which was being given to the girls. I can only assume how this second person knew this. She said it was an antidepressant, which I took to mean a benzodrine or whatever. And that was the ex-wife that had told me that, a year later or whatever. It had been alleged that there is $1 million underground facility, multiple people have alleged that, near my home, and that a prostitution ring is behind the tunnels. So I wondered if the location of the large prostitution was there. Does that explain the repeated break-ins at my home? Are these people here to keep me from finding this facility? I don't know. I know that my Samsung security system and Vivid security systems has said 1,000 times that people are breaking into my home. I agree with them. And basically multiple alarm systems have gone off here at my house. Okay. And also proof that they're hacking the cameras, etc. Okay. Was a similar event going on the night of the murder attempt? Does that explain why a person said you don't know how many lives that you ruined by surviving a home invasion or murder attempt? Remember, that was the ex-wife that came in a couple of weeks after shot. Said you don't know how many lives you ruined, but with your idiocies. That was her exact words, and that was talking about the night I was shot, which was 2 years later. But the question is, a big party was going on because she was insinuating, or basically just told me a lot of people were here. And when it found out what they were doing in the underground facility, then it was going to ruin their lives. Anyway, I gave the FBI agent sitting at the front desk a thumb drive with these secret recordings on them, and I have a copy of them. This is back in 21, and remember, I wrote this in 2014. If somebody had broken into my home and deleted evidence. Yeah, that's happened many times. Yeah, I don't have them recordings. I did it one time. I had them recordings, but after 10,000 break-ins in my house, I don't have them anymore. Once again, I'm a third party, so I don't have direct knowledge, but I believe what I was told is true. And if you look at the other evidence, which I've shown, then it seems very plausible. I'll be glad to work with law enforcement since I know the names of the people involved. I really appreciate you sharing the story. You might save a person from being raped or murdered. Okay. So I wrote that in 2014. Actually, the date was December 13th, 2014. Okay, because we're searching the time. And I posted this picture. Okay. Now this is a picture from my security camera, and this was one of the secret police, and they wasn't identified until 2018. So, but what we could tell is this one was wearing a Midland K9 police jacket. And so, but like I said, at the time, because I couldn't get them identified, I was sending their pictures to the mayor and chief of police and the sheriff and the attorney general and the district attorney and everybody else, and nobody would identify them. Well, then we couldn't really say that they were police because I didn't have a police report. They were just criminals dressed like police caught inside my home. I ended up having to offer a $2,000 reward to get them identified. Okay. But this picture, which is very important, was posted along with the story called Rape and Murder on December 13th, 2014. Okay. Now let me show you on a Google search here what happened on 2 days later on December 15th. And I did a search for Simpson murder, suicide, Midland, Texas, and I found a whole bunch of links there. You can do it yourself, okay? And you're going to see the date on this one, December 15th. Okay, so 2 days after I posted that story, MPD police officer involved in murder-suicide. Okay, we'll click on that. And we're waiting for it to open up. And, okay, so Midland police officer involved in murder-suicide. And y'all can come back and read that. Chief Robinson confirmed a male officer was found dead, and in Crenshaw, and along with the woman. And here it is right here. Okay. Authorities didn't officially release any name, but a neighbor confirmed that the house belonged to Midland Police Department officer Chad Simpson. Okay, so Chad Simpson, and so now we know Chad was the murderer, and then Sandra was his wife. She was the murder victim. Okay, he chose to die, but she didn't get any choice. He decided to kill her. A lot of people. Okay, and let me go on a little bit further here. In 2018, okay, remember that was in 2014 that I wrote the story 2 days later. Chad Simpson here murders Sandra Simpson, and they had 2 babies. Okay, and here's another article from News West 9. Midland police officer shoots wife in apparent suicide. 2 days after I posted that story I just read to you about the rape and murder of the girl at the oil show party. Okay, and I posted that picture, right, of the secret police. We didn't know who it was. Okay, well, when my private investigator named all 11 police collected the $2,000 reward, he found a guy here and that would testify that he knew Chad, and Chad told him that he was in my house on the night that I was shot. Okay, and so. So there's a witness here that's willing to testify that Chad, he was a friend of Chad or whatever, that Chad told him he was in my house. And that's actually really important, and you're going to see that here in a minute. And I'm going to show you one other thing here. Here's the obituaries, and here's Chad. He's the Midland K9 police officer. And I want to show you something here, if I can find it real quick. There's a couple things in here. I don't want to have to reread the whole obituary, but basically it's going to show that he was a K9 police officer. Remember, one of the secret police that I posted his picture. I didn't know it, but it was his picture that I posted, and 2 days later he murdered her, Sandra Simpson. Okay, or that's the official story. The other thing that's kind of interesting is he got promoted that year, and I think that the question's been asked: did all of the secret police get promoted for their part in the capital murder attempt on my life? But he was promoted. But anyway, the things we know for sure: here's a Midland K9 police officer, and there's a picture of Midland K9 police officer in my house, and there's a witness saying it was Chad in my house. Okay, and so let's move on. Okay. Just a few months ago, there's that wasn't exactly what I was looking for. Just a few months ago, the police report for the night of the murder attempt, right here, I found a police report number, and I requested from the city records, and I get a hold of this police report. Okay, now this report was withheld because I had requested it in April 2012, and they withheld it, and then it was subpoenaed. All records were subpoenaed in December 2013 before the protective order hearing, and once again it was withheld. Okay, so 2 times it was held. So this police report was withheld illegally for 7 years, and that's what caused the secret police, because we had no police report saying that that there were any police at my house at all. Well, all of a sudden now we do. But when I go in and with close examination, what I find out is that this police report is heavily falsified. I mean, just all through it, because it was Rosa Rodriguez met me at the 7-Eleven, but this police report shows April Chandler met me there, and that's just a lie, one of the many lies. Okay, and then there's a timestamp of April Chandler filling out her document at the hospital, but the police report shows she wasn't at the hospital on the timestamps, and then like my security cameras at the house, and that's why I think that messed them up. All this would have worked good if there wasn't them timestamp pictures, and all of a sudden all their lies and the falsified police report and everybody, there's a whole 11 of them all together against one innocent crime victim, but them timestamp security pictures are what messed them up, because that shows that they were lying, and that's what happened. And that's why this police report. Another thing's important is a Lieutenant Dickey shows that he was inside my home right here, okay? Dickie's inside my home at 11:05. Well, the thing is, my security cameras show that my front security cameras wasn't disabled until 11:22, and nobody was seen going in the door. So it's actually believed that old Dickie actually come up from underground from where I was shot, that he was under my home when I shot, because that's the only thing that can explain him being inside my house at 11:05. And so anyways, I want to say that. But what the other point of this, because to get back at the main story, Chad Simpson's not on here, nowhere to be found. Okay, and so once again, that's murder, and he's not the only one in that police report. Okay, here's the secret police names, and here at the top is names found on 12812. Okay, and you can see here, and I list them. I just go to the police report. Okay, and here's the names that from the private investigator, Empire Private Investigation. Remember, I paid them $2,000 and saved up disability money to get the secret police identified 6 years later. And what we have here is names, and the ones with the star: Greg Nelson, Chad Simpson, Mike Naylor, Mark Gillingham, Michael Glick, John Woodward. These are names that my private investigator identified, not found on the police report. Okay, and then there's names on the police report that are not here in the private investigator: Dylan Hale, Joe Ramirez, Kenny Angle, and Matt Davis. Okay, and so what we know for sure is lying. What I wanted to do there is give you a real life example of how important of a tool it is to be able to surf the timelines and go back into history and look, because obviously the murder of Sandra Simpson is directly connected to the murder attempt on my life. And the question's been asked if Chad Simpson was at the 2010 oil show party when the girl was murdered. Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas.